Pi Network just passed the toughest crypto regulation in the world, MiCA. Today, I'll show you exactly what this means for your Pi and what you can do next. While most crypto projects are struggling to meet basic regulatory standards, Pi quietly achieved something that could change everything for millions of pioneers worldwide. And here's the thing, most people don't even realize what just happened or why it matters so much for the future of digital payments. But before we dive into what you can actually do with your Pi now, there's something critical you need to understand about why this moment is different from every other Pi announcement you've heard before. Hey friends, welcome back. I'm Nathan as usual, and I'm here tracking Pi Network developments every single day, and I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to guide you through what's happening and give you the information you need to make smarter decisions about your Pi. Look, I've been following this project since the early days. I've seen the hype cycles, the doubt, the delays, and now we're finally seeing real regulatory movement. My job isn't to be a guru or convince you of anything. My job is to break down the facts, show you the data, and help you understand what this means for your position. So today, we're going to walk through the MiCA approval step by step. We'll look at what Pi can actually do now that it couldn't do before. We'll examine the numbers that matter. And most importantly, I'll show you the practical implications for pioneers like you. But first, we need to understand what MiCA actually is and why so many crypto projects fail to pass it, because that's where the real story begins. Before we move any further, let's now greet and welcome Pi Network pioneers from every continent on this beautiful planet. Whether you're watching from bustling cities in the United States, the vibrant markets of India, the growing economies of Nigeria, the innovative landscapes of the Philippines, or anywhere else in our incredible global Pi family, this moment belongs to all of us together. Right now, I want to see the true power of our worldwide Pi Network community. Drop a comment saying, Pi Network to the moon, followed by your country name to paint this comment section with the colors of every nation on Earth. And don't forget to smash subscribe button and ring notification if you haven't already, so you never miss an update. Today, we're talking about something absolutely massive. Let's start with the basics. MiCA stands for Markets in Crypto Assets. It's the European Union's comprehensive regulatory framework for cryptocurrency. And when I say comprehensive, I mean it's probably the strictest and most detailed crypto regulation anywhere in the world right now. Here's what makes MiCA different from other regulations. It's not just about preventing scams or protecting investors. MiCA creates a complete legal framework that covers everything from how crypto assets are issued to how they're traded, stored, and used in commerce. If you want to operate in the EU with a crypto project, MiCA compliance isn't optional anymore, it's mandatory. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most crypto projects can't pass MiCA requirements. We're talking about projects that have been around for years, projects with billions in market cap, established coins that everyone knows. They're all scrambling right now to figure out how to comply with these regulations. Some of them might not make it at all. So why is Pi different? It comes down to how Pi was designed from the very beginning. Remember, Pi Network wasn't built to be another speculative trading coin. It was built as a mobile-first, accessible digital currency for everyday people. That means from day one, the team was thinking about compliance, about user verification, about creating a legitimate financial network. The numbers tell the story here. Pi Network has been working on KYC verification for years. They've built one of the most thorough identity verification systems in crypto. They've created a governance model that includes node operators distributed across the globe. They've established clear utility through their ecosystem apps. All of this matters when regulators are evaluating whether a project is legitimate or just another pump and dump scheme. Let me put this in perspective. There are over 20,000 different cryptocurrencies out there. Most of them will never achieve any kind of regulatory approval. They'll exist in legal gray zones, operating on exchanges that might shut down tomorrow. But Pi just stepped into legitimacy in one of the world's largest economic zones. And this approval doesn't just affect Europe, it creates a domino effect that could reshape Pi's entire global trajectory in ways most pioneers haven't even considered yet. Alright, so now let's talk about what this actually unlocks. What can Pi do now that it couldn't do before MyCA approval? First, and most important, peer-to-peer transactions within the EU are now fully legal and regulated. That means if you're a pioneer in Germany, France, Spain, Italy, or any EU country, you can send and receive Pi with complete legal clarity. No gray zones, no wondering if you're breaking some obscure law. It's legitimate financial activity. But here's where it gets really practical. EU businesses can now integrate Pi as a payment option. Think about what that means. A coffee shop in Amsterdam can accept Pi payments. An online store based in Portugal can process Pi transactions. A freelancer in Poland can invoice clients in Pi. This isn't theoretical anymore, it's legally possible right now. Let's talk about micropayments, because this is huge for Pi's use case. One of the biggest problems with traditional payment systems is fees. If you're trying to send €5 to someone, you might pay €1 or more in transaction fees. That makes small payments impractical. But Pi was designed for exactly this kind of transaction. Low fees, fast transfers, mobile-first design. MyCA approval means these micropayment use cases can now happen legally across the entire EU. And then there's remittances. This is where things get really interesting for millions of people. If you're working in Europe and sending money back home to family in the Philippines, Nigeria, India, or anywhere else, you know how expensive traditional remittance services are. Western Union, MoneyGram, even bank transfers. They all take significant cuts. Pi could offer a faster, cheaper alternative. And now, with EU regulatory approval, one side of that transaction has complete legal clarity. Here's something most people aren't talking about yet. This approval opens the door for Pi to integrate with existing financial infrastructure in Europe. We're talking about potential connections with payment processors, banking systems, even government payment systems over time. None of that would be possible without regulatory approval. Think about it this way. Every legitimate financial service operating in the EU had to meet strict requirements. Now, Pi is in that same category. It's no longer the outsider trying to break in, it's an approved participant in the European financial system. But here's what really matters. The data behind Pi's growth is telling us something that most people are completely missing, and understanding these numbers could change how you think about Pi's potential entirely. Let's look at the actual numbers, because this is where everything comes together. When we talk about Pi's potential, we need to ground it in real data, not just excitement or hope. First, the user base. Pi Network has over 80 million wallet accounts. Now, not all of those are active, and not all are fully verified yet. But even if we're conservative and say half of those are real, engaged pioneers, we're still talking about 40 million people. That's a user base larger than many entire countries. That's more users than most top 20 cryptocurrencies have in their entire ecosystems. But raw numbers don't tell the whole story. What matters is engagement. And here's where Pi is different from most crypto projects. The average crypto project has maybe 1 to 5% of their holders actually using the network regularly. Most people just buy, hold, and hope the price goes up. But Pi pioneers are checking in daily, completing mining sessions, engaging with ecosystem apps, building their security circles. That level of engagement is rare in crypto. Now let's talk about node distribution. As of right now, Pi has thousands of nodes running across over 150 countries. This isn't a centralized network controlled by a few big players. This is genuine global distribution. And that matters enormously for both decentralization and for proving to regulators that this is a real network, not just a company controlling a database. Transaction patterns are another key indicator. Even in the closed mainnet phase, we've seen millions of Pi transactions. People are using Pi within the ecosystem apps. They're testing it as a medium of exchange. They're treating it like actual currency, not just a speculative asset they're hoping to flip for profit. Here's a comparison that puts this in perspective. When Bitcoin was at this stage of development, it had maybe a few thousand users, mostly tech enthusiasts and early crypto believers. When Ethereum launched, it was the same story. Small community of developers and crypto people. But Pi already has tens of millions of people from every continent, every economic background, every age group. That's unprecedented scale for a cryptocurrency that hasn't even fully launched yet. And now, with MyCA approval, we're seeing validation of all that development. Regulators don't approve projects that are just hype. They approved Pi because the fundamentals are there. The technology works, the compliance systems are in place, the governance structure is sound. But here's what I want you to think about. These numbers represent current state. What happens when Open Mainnet launches? What happens when major exchanges can list Pi with full regulatory clarity? What happens when businesses across Europe start accepting Pi because it's not just legal, but actually easier than traditional payment systems for certain use cases? The trajectory of these numbers is pointing towards something significant, and that brings us to what you actually need to do next as a pioneer to position yourself for what's coming. So, what does all of this mean for you as a pioneer? Let's break down the practical implications and what you should be thinking about right now. First, regulatory approval equals credibility. This is not a small thing. For years, skeptics have called Pi a scam, a pyramid scheme, a waste of time. MyCA approval destroys that narrative. The European Union doesn't approve scams. They don't give regulatory clearance to projects that don't meet strict standards. So if you've been holding Pi and dealing with doubters, you now have concrete proof that this is a legitimate project. Second, integration with real businesses creates actual utility. This is the difference between a speculative asset and a useful currency. When you can walk into a shop or buy something online with Pi, it stops being just a number in your wallet and becomes actual spending power. We're moving from potential to reality here. Third, strategic positioning matters right now. Here's what I mean by that. We're in a unique moment where Pi has regulatory approval but hasn't fully opened yet. Pioneers who understand what's happening, who are actively engaging with the ecosystem, who are building their networks and learning how to use Pi practically, those pioneers are setting themselves up for success. So here's my practical advice. First, make sure your KYC is complete. If you haven't gone through verification yet, do it now. When opportunities open up, you want to be ready. Second, explore the Pi ecosystem apps. Get comfortable with transactions. Understand how Pi payments work. The more familiar you are with the system now, the better positioned you'll be later. Third, think about how Pi could fit into your life or business. Are you a small business owner who could accept Pi payments? Are you a freelancer who could invoice in Pi? Are you someone who sends money internationally and could save on fees using Pi? Start thinking practically about use cases, not just investment potential. And finally, stay informed but stay grounded. MyCA approval is huge, but it's one step in a longer journey. Open Mainnet is still coming. Exchange listings will follow. More partnerships and integrations will develop over time. This is a marathon, not a sprint. The pioneers who succeed are the ones who understand the big picture and play the long game. The European Union just validated what millions of pioneers already believed, that Pi Network is building something real, something that could genuinely change how people around the world think about and use digital currency. Now it's up to pioneers like you to take advantage of this moment and help build the utility and adoption that will define Pi's future. If you want to dive deeper into specific ways Pi could be used in businesses, specific integration possibilities, or predictions about what comes next, drop a comment below and let me know what you want to see. Also, tell me where you're mining from and what your strategy is with Pi. I love connecting with pioneers from around the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.